here on Earth. The fate of birthright citizenship is now in the hands of the Supreme Court after justice has heard arguments in a landmark case that could challenge what it means to be a United States citizen. Joining us now, the executive director of the ACLU, Anthony Romero. He was in the courtroom yesterday, of course, involved in the suit. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
We won't ask you to predict how justices will rule, or certainly individual ones. But give us your top takeaways, though. What struck you in terms of the questions they were asking and the arguments made?
Oh, I can predict, and I never predict. I've been the head of the ACLU for 25 years. I've gone to literally dozens of Supreme Court arguments. We win this case. That is clear to me. The arguments that we presented were so ironclad. We have constitutional arguments. We have statutory arguments. It's clear that Chief Justice Roberts is troubled by some of the government's arguments. I think even the Trump appointees of Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh are very much with us. Even Alito, who is never someone who gives an inch, said, you have some pretty good arguments on your side. Thomas asked a question about how this case is building on the history of Dred Scott, a case that he knows goes down in infamy. So I think this is a case that the ACLU wins 7-2. I will predict it on TV. I never do this. I think we might even get 9-0 if we're really lucky. We might, right. If we're not as lucky, we win 6-3. But we will win this case. Our arguments are way too sound. And our top lawyer, Cecilia Wong, did a phenomenal job of answering any of the questions and concerns from the justices.
We heard the prediction there, and certainly most legal experts have given their analysis, agree with you. Anthony, I'm curious, this was a historic day for many reasons, but one of them is that the President of the United States was there in attendance. President Trump,
yes, he was.
Went up the Pennsylvania Avenue and around the Capitol to the Supreme Court. Could you see him from your vantage point? If so, what was he like?
What was his expression? He was 6 feet in front of me. We were literally right in front of me. He was literally right in front of me. I was one row behind him. There's Secret Service and then the president. So I could watch him entirely throughout the argument. Some of the press reports also got it wrong. Some of the press reports said that he left after the government had its case. The president sat through at least 10 to 15 minutes of our argument. I could see him fidget in the chair. I literally could see him. He was literally in my line of vision. And when our legal director, Cecilia Wong, made her opening statements, and then when she began to answer questions from the justices, you could see he started getting restless. His shoulders slumped a little bit. I think he was there clearly to intimidate the justices. When they first sat him on the very end of the front row. And then Commerce Secretary Mr. Lutnick got up and told the security guards that Mr. Trump would like to be seated more centrally in the courtroom. So they moved him literally right in front of us. And then he was clear that he was endeavoring to put his thumb on the scale. He was endeavoring to glower at the justices, to kind of intimidate them, almost defy them to rule against him. And what was remarkable, and this really is a testament that our system of checks and balances is working, that it's a co-equal branch of government. Donald Trump is a guest in the Supreme Court. This is Chief Justice Roberts' house. And there was not a mention. They did not miss a beat. When he walked in, the courtroom got quiet. When he walked out, no one missed a beat. It was clear that he was endeavoring to create some drama, some spectacle, by glowering at them, saying, you better vote for me. And I am confident even that his own appointees will do the job that they're there to do. When they took the oath and said, we will uphold the Constitution, no matter what the president says about them. And we've seen the screeds that the president has presented after the tariff case. So I was really glad he was there. He got a great schooling in constitutional law and civil liberties. He got to see a daughter of birthright citizenship, Cecilia Wong, whose parents came from Taiwan, argue a case more forcefully than the Solicitor General. And so I think it was a great day for us. As you can tell, I'm still kind of pumped from it.
President less pumped, it would appear, putting on Truth Social, Kangaroo Court this morning. Executive Director of the ACLU, Anthony Romero. Anthony, thank you for joining us.